goal of this DVD is for folks to learn how to use a collar properly and for them to get control over their dog and to have a better experience with their dog. And I'm not sure if some people understand the best way to go about that in a busy life.
You know, we all live with the dog. We all have to feed the dog, we walk the dog, we have to take them out to the bathroom, and we hang out watching TV at night.
Okay.
So if we're doing that, we have time to have the dog walk nicely when we take him for a walk. We have time to make him sit at the door. We have time to make him stay on his place when we're having dinner. Realistically, the first couple weeks, it's going to be really helpful if people can do maybe 10 or 15 minutes 1 or 2 times a day so that they get the hang of it.
Okay.
The most important piece is do a little bit of practice so you get the hang of it, so the dog learns the basics, and then just start incorporating it throughout your routine in the daytime. If I'm training somebody's dog for them, I'm probably working the dog 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay.
I recognize that people, have another career besides dog trainer.
Right.
So I would encourage them to get in 2 a day. You can do 1 before you go to work. You can do 1 when you come home and you have to walk the dog anyway. When you're hanging out on the weekends, though, incorporating it into your routine and incorporating your training when you're sitting around at night reading the paper. There's no reason a dog can't practice his down or his place commands when you're doing that.
While you're watching TV.
Absolutely.
Just being around the family.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a normal training session for you?
You know, for most people, if they kind of set that time frame around 15 to 20 minutes, they're probably in a good range.
Okay. A lot of our customers, by the time they get to an e-collar, they're already frustrated with their dog.
Yeah.
So he's getting into the garbage, or he's these situations where you have this out of control dog. And they come about it from a problem solving standpoint, and you've got a little different philosophy on that.
Most problems are caused by a dog being frustrated and under-exercised. I mean, the reality is our lifestyle now is really busy. The dogs do not have the opportunity to run off leash because most people don't have really good control.
Sure.
So if we can start out at the beginning, teach real simple things like you gotta come when called, now we can take the leash off in a couple weeks usually, and we can really exercise the dog. When we can exercise the dog and we add in just a little bit of structure around the house, most of the problems are going to go away. The dog is tired, and a tired dog is a good dog, and the dog is getting some mental stimulation from these workouts, and that's going to help dramatically.
So having just a regular activity for the dog, something that engages them physically and mentally, is going to help fix some of these issues.
It's huge.
Sure. One of the things that I first noticed about your technique that was different from most folks is that you start with the e-collar on day 1. And that's a little different from what a lot of people say.
I'm primarily a pet dog trainer, and these people have really busy lives. For me to ask them to spend 6 or 8 weeks training with another methodology and then we're going to incorporate the collar made no sense at all. Sooner or later is going to be the first time you use the e-collar. The first time is always the first time. Why can't you teach both pieces in one fell swoop?
All together.
All together. Tap, tap, tap.
Explain how you use stimulation.
I do a lot of button pushing, quite honestly,
Okay.
and people have told me that. Wow, Robin, you push the button a lot. If I can push the button many times, it's a little bit easier on the dog than one time with that little bit higher pressure. Multiple times, I think, gives the dog lots of opportunity to feel it at this little bit lower level than maybe what some people are proposing.
With a higher level?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to err on the side of repetition. When I'm working with a dog, I'm going to press and I'm going to repeat a few times as opposed to raising it and insisting do it now, because I want to err on the side that maybe the dog doesn't really know it yet.
Okay.
So we're going to give a few more pulses and a few more opportunities to respond.
Okay.
Collar conditioning is teaching 3 actions.
Okay.
I mean, it's not completed until you teach the dog to move toward you, move away from you, and stop and be stationary.
Okay.
That's complete collar conditioning.
All right.
The beginning phase is obviously we have to teach the dog that stimulation has meaning. It's not a random occurrence. So in the very beginning, the first piece of information that I want the dog to understand is when you feel sensation, move toward me.
Okay.
That's always going to be at least my default. Worst case scenario, if somebody had to stop the training right there, they've taught their dog, when you feel stim, come to your handler. Yep.
Okay.
I think the biggest mistake that novice e-collar users make
Okay.
is they don't put it on snug enough.
Okay. So
They-
too loose.
Too
moving
loose.
around.
They think it's like a regular collar,
Okay.
and it's, dangling. If you think about the contact points touching the skin,
Right.
if the dog is sniffing the ground and the contact points aren't touching anything,
Okay.
the dog's not feeling
Right.
anything.
So you can press the button all you want, you're not accomplishing anything.
And then you're assuming that it's too low.
Right. Raise
And-
the level,
Raise level, dog
Stands
lifts
up.
his head up,
and we get a jumping, yelping dog.
big time.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So how tight do you want it on them?
Well, if the dog has a lot of hair like Diva does, I make sure that I kind of rake it or wiggle it a little
Okay.
bit before I snap it down. But I'm barely going to get a finger under there.
Okay.
It's snug.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't like a collar bill to move around much. I want it in one position and I want it to stay there.
Yep.
Okay.
If the dog's scratching at it, it'll probably shift a little
Sure,
bit.
sure.
But if it's just freely moving
Right.
around, it's too
Then
loose.
Too loose. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the reactions that you're looking for from the dog to tell that they're feeling the stimulation. In my opinion, it's a lot more subtle than most people think.
Typically, people have looked for a startle response. They've looked for, the dog, they almost expect the dog to
Right.
jump. And that will happen from time to time. That happens. But that's not ideally what I want. What I'm looking for is momentary pause in behavior. Sometimes it's the dog lifting his head off the ground because he's been busy sniffing, so he lifts the head up. Sometimes it's actually just a change in the breathing. A dog that is panting will close his mouth.
Okay.
Sometimes it is that kind of quizzical look where the dog looks around like, well, what was that?
Right.
Maybe a fly just buzzed by me or something. So it's a relatively subtle thing is what I want to teach people to look for.
Okay.
People get stuck in the idea that low distraction is number 2,
Right.
and medium distraction is number 4, and high distraction is number 7. Well, there's days when 7 might not work in
Right.
high distraction.
Okay.
And so my thought process about it is don't even pay attention to the dial. What is the dog doing right now at this moment in time? If he's completely ignoring you and not noticing anything, your level is too low.
Okay.
If your dog is overreacting, he's startling, he's obviously feeling something but has no idea what to do, it's too high.
Okay.
But if your dog kind of has that, yes ma'am,
Right.
I know you're talking to me, I need to do something, we're just right.
So it changes depending on the situation.
Totally,
Okay.
totally. As soon as I figure out the dog can notice something, they feel some sort of sensation, the first association I want them to make with it is that they move toward their handler.
Okay.
That's
How do you go about getting them to move toward you?
That's why a leash or a long line is absolutely critical piece of equipment. The handler has a responsibility in this training protocol to move away from the dog. And motion away from a dog tends to get them to follow you.
Okay.
So if we're tapping and moving away from the dog, automatically there's some tension applied to that leash, and that's going to get the dog to move toward you. Then the sensation goes away.
Okay.
The dog learns very quickly he can control the sensation goes away when I move toward mom or dad.
Okay.
And giving the dog the sense of control creates a happy, reliable response. So we're automatically teaching a recall or a follow me first, and we're getting a dog to understand he can control it. Ultimately, that's what we want. I want the dog to know the sooner you comply with whatever I asked you, the sooner you can then go and have your freedom.
So you're developing focus here as far as you're being able to get their attention in any situation and getting them to focus on you.
Yeah, that's the beginning stage. And then we can build it into all sorts of cool stuff.
What's your take on when the dog should be wearing the collar?
Basically, whenever you're hanging out and there's opportunity that you're going to be paying attention to them.
Okay.
So if you're going to work and the dog's in a crate or he's left behind in the house, there's no reason to have the collar on.
Okay.
There's no reason to have the collar on at night when you're going to sleep.
Okay.
But when you get up in the morning, I like to put the collar on first thing because we got to take the dog out and
Right.
walk him and toilet him and that kind of thing. So it's on.
Good opportunity there to do some training.
Practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anytime you have when you're interacting with a dog, you're going to want to have the training collar on and the remote close by.
Ideally, and if you don't, if you set the remote down and an opportunity comes up where you feel like, whoa, this is something I would like to teach my dog to stop doing
Right.
or to do, rather than running and searching around for the remote, I would rather than people just deal with it in the moment.
Okay.
But ideally, keep the remote on you, especially for those first, I would say 4 or 6 weeks when
Yeah.
you're really trying to set some consistent habit with your dog.
All right.